Good morning.
I'm so tired.
Alexa, play
a song that I want in my YouTube video, but will definitely get copyrighted. And now I'm cutting this off before you see my lack of dancing ability.
I'm a Pisces. For those of you who don't get daily notifications from CoStar, to put it simply, I am emotional, like stuck halfway between that emo middle school phase and being jaded by the world. Even though my last final was literally this morning, I went out to lunch with friends and I'm just starting to pack. My emotional Pisces ass is here to tell you all the things I've learned during my first year in college, while you watch me pack up all the shit I've amassed this past year too. Once my roomies started moving out in increments, like what a logical person does, I started smelling things as though it were the start of the school year again. I don't know, sprinkling in some proof shit on how smell is closely linked to memory. The smell of moving in. The smell of returning to my room after a day filled with way too many brochures from way too many info sessions bound to be recycled. The smell of my oil cleanser when I washed the sweat I swam through during the party of that night. I wasn't exactly doe-eyed upon arrival. It was more like I felt at home. It was a homecoming I was just waiting to happen.
Welcome, class of 2020.
Here today to stand to have a classroom experience that will change your life.
There were and still are so many things I want to get involved with. I didn't want to overwhelm myself, so I didn't apply for everything like my initial instincts were screaming at me to do. But I don't think it would have been necessarily bad if I had.
Just went to like 3 consecutive info sessions. I'm so tired.
Oh my god. It's a time of transitions, of trying new things, testing the waters before you fully dive in. I now know that there are clubs I will not be doing again, and clubs I wish I joined sooner because of the wonderful community of people I would have spent more time with. Being involved also means attending sports games and all the amazing productions that student groups organize, and it's something I wish I had done more of in high school. It's always refreshing to support your friends and see how talented your peers are.
This song is about being drunk on that feeling so
So many people are going to be uncharacteristically social busy bees. Some people say that this glamour of gregariousness soon fades during the first wave of midterms. As one friend put it, people's true faces are revealed by the stress. Either way, everybody's basically in the same boat, navigating a new state, new environment, new people. Friends you start the year with aren't necessarily friends you'll end the year with. You'll find your people. It may take a couple months, or maybe even longer. Sometimes you just have to wait for the good things in life. Quote-unquote your people doesn't necessarily mean a solid friend group like you might have had in high school. It could be friends here and there. What's important is that you're developing meaningful relationships. You may be away from home, but often you find home in the people you interact with. Here's a letter very much not representative of the grades I received for a semester. At college, some people may experience imposter syndrome, and support systems are helpful during this transition. Though your friends and family may be far, that doesn't mean they're gone. Talk to them, share your life with them, support them, and they may support you. Long distance anything is hard, but you put in the effort when you know it's worth it. Don't forget support is also found with your newly made friends in college. Things may be tough, but you're not alone. Others may be going through similar things. Your feelings are valid. Don't let a passive hurt hinder you from opening up and trusting others.
and you're a little ball of fluff just like Kristen Wiig.
Whether the workload is oof, the professor is meh, or the content is blech, try to go to office hours regularly. Actually schedule it into your calendar. It's hard to find the motivation to go on your own, so maybe drag a friend. There, you have a chance to ask clarifying questions you may have been scared of asking in a large lecture hall, or if you don't go to lecture, the questions you had while learning it yourself. This may also be the time to actually get to know your professor, not only because they may be a potential writer of your next letter of rec, but because they're genuinely smart and interesting and may want to talk about life with you. Once you're done with the course, I want you to feel satisfied, even if you felt like shit during the midterms and the final, or maybe you thought the class was uselessly easy. Gain what you can, even if you feel like you didn't learn that much of the material. You don't always need a textbook or classroom to learn things in life. Sometimes the pressure of ticking course requirements off your checklist gives you tunnel vision, whereas many save their electives until later in college, choosing so-called easy courses for an easy A. I actually took a different route many were confused about. I took an amazing class called Asian American and the Psychology of Race. Even though it wasn't the most efficient way to fulfill my non-tech requirements, it really opened my eyes on others, my family, and very importantly, myself. On the last day for this class, my professor singled me out as the only freshman taking the course. I asked her for advice to us as students in a high-stress environment with high expectations academically, socially, culturally, etc. She said, find time to play. Just doing something for your own enjoyment, where the gain isn't something monetary, career-driven, academic. Her other piece of advice is one that my parents keep mentioning whenever I call them: exercise. Oftentimes, we end up straining our brains and neglecting our bodies. It's important to strengthen a connection between the two, enrich both, and to slow down the inevitable freshman 15. Balance is difficult to achieve with anything, so take what you've learned first and second semester. Study dates with friends were a balance between academics and social life for me. Interestingly, I made really close friends in the midst of my first final season. You find times to connect during the mutual suffering of late night studying and gossiping over snacks during breaks. Let's talk about drinking. I drink a lot of water. I also enjoy popping a cold one with the boys. And by a cold one, I mean yerba. And when I mean the boys, I mean my crowdsourced online textbooks. Gotta save those money, kiddos. The obligatory advice that has to be mentioned in any YouTube video is drink water. Whether it's throughout the night to prevent a terrible hangover or to hydrate your skin, or to give yourself a break while studying, aka getting up to actually move your body instead of being a studious potato. It's part of self-care, which is typically the first thing that goes out the window when we get stressed. Nourish your body with the water, food, and sleep it needs. And no, cereal does not count as a substantial meal. Make time to recharge. Make time for your friends and yourself. Constantly working is not only unnecessary, but also unsustainable and damaging. Once something is a habit, good or bad, it becomes ingrained into your routine and it's harder to forgo. Journaling is something I use in my recharging routine, and it gives me a space to recollect and reflect. I sometimes think I have all my thoughts figured out and all has been said in my head, but actually physically writing it all down helps me reach new revelations. Some important things I learned about myself this past year is that I overconsume when I'm stressed, and I'm happy when I create. I feel energized when I spend time with people, but once I'm overwhelmed, I tend to become a hermit, hidden from the world in a library alcove. Sorry for the mucho cheesiness, but I'm obviously still figuring out who I am. I'm happy that I've made such supporting friendships this past year, along with understanding better under what conditions I thrive. I have high hopes and many, many dreams to accomplish in my next 3 years here. Well, that's all, kiddos, for my first YouTube video ever. If you have any specific questions about college you'd like me to answer in a future video, leave a comment or DM me on Insta. Also, let me know if you actually maybe vaguely like this video, and stuff you'd like to see in the future from an NYC college student, aka me. See ya!